Okay. Okay. Hi. Uh, hey, how's it going?
Good, and my entire intro was muted. You just said, "Hey, how's it going?" and I forgot to unmute my mic. Like I said, first episode's gonna be scuffed. Let me try that again. Welcome to oWo Trek with Titus and Tim,
So,
so, where we talk about all things Star Trek and a little bit about the show itself. My buddy Tim here. Why don't you tell us how much experience you have in watching Star Trek?
uh, very limited, man. I've only seen um a few episodes of the original series, and I think I watched one of the newer movies.
Okay.
Um, but the fact that I can't even name the stuff should tell you my level of experience.
I
So,
Yeah, and that's what makes me kind of excited about this is because we're going in totally fresh and new and all that. Because Tim is, I would say an ensign or a cadet currently. We're as we go, as your captain of this podcast, I will rank you up. How about that?
that sounds good.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. All right, cool, cool. So, first things first, just to get this out of the way, do you know the difference between a Trekker and a Trekkie?
No.
All right. So this podcast is going to piss off every Trekker out there. Trekkies are going to enjoy it. And Trekkers are
Okay.
those very angry hardcore fans that anything new, anything different, or anything not what they believe is Star Trek will piss them off. And we've already started off on a bad foot with them because we're watching First Contact as the first episode.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they like a good friend of mine, the Gift Plays, another podcaster, streamer, and content creator. He when this idea was presented to him, he said do it release order, but I didn't want to subject you through to 1960s sci-fi for about 7 months because I know
Uh,
you, I know you, and it's like let's start you off on something that would be good. So we're doing timeline order ish. So we're gonna
yeah,
be,
that works. Okay.
yeah, that works. So we're starting with First Contact here. Little bit of a summary of the movie, and then I'm gonna start asking your thoughts, and we're gonna get into big stride and big conversations here. First Contact is a movie in the Next Generation series. It's the third Next Generation movie, and this one, Captain Jean-Luc Picard is fighting his one of his arch nemesis, the Borg, and the Borg go back in time to kill humanity before they make first contact with the Vulcans, invent the Federation, and destroy them. So that's the premise of the movie: is Picard goes back into the past, like a Back to the Future ripoff, but with more guns, more action, and weird android sex. So Tim, what'd you think of
Yeah.
the movie?
I loved it.
You
Uh,
loved it.
yeah, yeah. It was everything I would have wanted in that movie. So, I
It was
mean, like you said, it had the guns, it had the all the
everything.
excitement and drama. Pretty much, yeah, like everything. Yeah.
Okay, let's start at scene one, that opener where Jean Luc is being basically what's called assimilated by the
Mhm.
Borg. It's when the
Yeah.
Borg inject nanoprobes into the bloodstream of a organic being, and it at the molecular level converts them into machinery. What did you think of the eyeball?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was pretty hardcore. Made me cringe a bit.
Like,
And anybody that knows me, I don't cringe that much. That one got me.
yeah, was it the pressure on the eye, or was it when the cheek exploded with the machines?
It was actually the pressure on the eye. I don't know why, but that really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like
So a funny thing, if you go into Apocrypha or beta content, which is basically fan content, John Luke, after his original assimilation, which you kind of see a little bit here, but because we're going in timeline order, you don't know the full extent. He doesn't have an eye.
uh,
Yeah, that eye is gone. So what you're seeing is a robotic one.
it's a little better.
Yeah, no, but like after that, like it gets drilled out and it goes
Uh,
everywhere, but then it's replaced
the robotic.
with a
Okay.
robotic eye. And every like there's only been well now in canon there's like 1,000 of them, but there's only 3 or 4. The comments can uh, let me know. There was only 3 or 4 people who were removed from the collective, and they had to have basically fake organs and everything replaced, otherwise they wouldn't survive after that experience. Now, Tim, if any one of your limbs or organs would be replaced with a Borg part, what would you want?
Hmm. I'd have to say specifically my left arm.
Your left arm. Just
My left
just
arm.
just your left arm. Would you want like a toothbrush or a gun or just a football?
Uh, Football's enticing, but I could see getting bored with that for a while. So I would say like a gun, or like a machete knife thing.
See, I was picturing like all the way up to the shoulder, the arm removed, and just a football stuck on there.
I mean, yeah, that would be me, but I could see getting bored with that for about a month and be like, kind of want a basketball now. But
Well,
so
they're
I mean,
interchangeable. They're
yeah,
interchangeable.
that's true. That's true.
Like
Yeah,
you see during the assimilation scene that everything like they're taking pieces off and just snapping them back on,
yeah, yeah.
back and forth. So, like that whole like opener in the movie, um, basically Jean-Luc heard the Borg from across space because he still has parts in his head.
All right.
So during that battle in the opening scene, when he's hearing the voices, that's not just him hallucinating. He can
It's,
actually hear the Borg.
that's what I thought. I originally thought he was hallucinating. I thought it was like a dream or something.
No, no, this is the best part of timeline order. You don't have all the information, so it's a little weird. He can still hear them if he's in close enough contact, because the Borg as a whole don't talk. Like they'll
Right.
address with the whole we're here to assimilate you, add biological and inorganic to us, we're perfect, yada yada yada, suck it speech that they give, and
Yep.
every time you encounter the Borg, they give that speech.
Yep.
But to everyone except for Starfleet, that's all they say.
Okay.
Yeah, because Starfleet is always like, "Hey, hold up, let's talk," but usually that's all they say. So they all collectively think as one mind surrounding that queen.
Right.
She's now. Let me ask you this: was that the only queen?
Uh, I thought so.
You thought so? Oh God, I'm gonna love this. Anyway, let's move on with the plot. Were you expecting time travel?
No, not to this extent. Nope.
So when it went into the past, what was like? Take me through your head. What was going through it?
I thought that when they went into the past, it was interesting on how like Earth was
Yeah,
to them. Like it was interesting because it was pretty much all the stereotypes of Earth in like rolled into a ball.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of
And
that's kind of the point.
yeah, I definitely agreed with it. Found it found that part pretty interesting.
So the weirdest part though, did do you remember when they said a World War III?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So
That seemed pretty accurate in my opinion.
and that's what you saw was gosh, I'll look it up later and people will read me in the comments for this. I think this starts about 50 or so years after World War III ends.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you see that little camp there, that's America.
Yeah. Right.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of a pessimist, so Anytime I see crazy stuff
Yeah.
happening, it's like, oh, this is where we're going. So I can see
Yeah.
it eventually. Hopefully it doesn't, but
No, it basically started because a crazy dude on steroids decided that India shouldn't exist.
I mean, I could see it.
Yeah. Now, yeah, and basically set off every nuke, and that was World War III. I think it lasts like a year, maybe less, and just wipes humanity out. Basically,
Yeah.
all tech, and that ship that they're trying to save is actually a nuke.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zephyr Cochrane, what did you think of that guy?
I'm trying to remember now. This has been a little minute since I've seen.
Yeah, it's been about a month.
Yeah. Um, shoot, Zephyrin. Uh,
He was the guy who created it.
oh yeah.
The
No,
drunk.
that was awesome. I loved him.
Yeah.
That's right. That dude. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, yes. That's my answer for that because, like, I felt like he embodied exactly how that person would be. See, we always envision this super uber genius that's like straight laced and
Yeah.
you know by the book and everything. And you know for a fact that if you're smart enough to pretty much create something that could be seen in space, pretty much
You're
time travel, you know you're gonna party. I'm sorry, that's
yeah.
just what it is.
You can't comprehend the universe without a lot of drugs.
Right.
And that dude, my favorite scene though is when you first like actually not just like when the Borg is shooting down at the camp. It's like 10 minutes later when Diana meets him.
Yes, I loved it. She couldn't hang with him.
No, you want to know?
She was trying to.
She could. That's the thing. It's actually this is my favorite thing because I get to explain stuff that you don't know. Because that
Okay.
entire scene right there is so ridiculous. Now, I want to ask you first, get your feedback, and then I'll tell you the actual answer. Why do you think Diana got so drunk?
Probably because stuff that they have now isn't to the same content of like alcohol that we had or have.
Like, you are about a fourth right.
Okay.
Yeah, the era fourth right. And I love that you were able to pull that out. Because to add to the other half of that, like to before the whole pie chart of Diana passing out,
Hmm.
is in the 24th century on starships where she spends nearly her entire life, and there's no alcohol,
Oh, so there's none completely.
none, and it's to keep the officers completely sober while they're operating these deep space missions. They have a thing called
Yeah.
synthahol.
Mm,
Yeah, and it mimics the flavor and the effect of alcohol for 5 seconds.
I took all the fun out of it.
Dude, okay. Spoilers, but a character from the original series goes to her timeline and says the
Yeah.
exact same line.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because he was like a Scotsman who drank a lot, and he saved the day by drinking like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
So he goes in the future, goes to the bar, and hates everything.
I mean, yeah, I would hate the same future. If you told me that was the future,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
On top of that, and again, another thing that I will be reamed for in the comments, uh, because I might not be 100% accurate, but I'm just going from a friend of a friend once told me. Diana, it's a big deal that she's not human.
Okay.
Yeah, she's half what's called betazoid, and they can read minds. She can't.
Oh, she can't.
She
Okay,
can't.
that makes sense. Please.
She can read feelings. So she can see when
Okay.
people are, or understand when people are lying, they're hiding something, if they're love, if they hate things. With
She can
if
communicate with Riker.
she can communicate with Riker or other people's podcasts, that kind of thing.
Hi,
You
buddy.
can get your facts straight, punk.
Yeah. See. Okay, that's my wife back there. So she can, and that's like a big thing between her and Riker is that she can read Riker's emotions biologically. He can read her like a poker player, and
Okay.
that's a big dynamic between them two because they're actually a couple.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ah.
the beard guy and her.
Yep.
But that, and on top of that, betazoids can't really handle their alcohol.
Okay.
So
I
her,
mean, makes sense.
yeah, she's half human, half Betazoid. So more than likely, she only had a like one shot and was already drunk. And then she said she had more of tequila, so she was like
Yeah.
gonna die.
Yes. Yep.
And so that entire scene was like, is this how they write her out of the show? Like that was my thought when I first saw that. Like as a kid, I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna kill her?
I mean, if I'm to be written out of a show, that's the way I want to do it.
That's the way you want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now let's go back to the ship. What do you think of Lily,
Lily.
the black chick?
Let me think. Yeah, I felt like her character was very interesting. Because I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. Like, you kind of got taken. You don't know what's going on. You wake up pretty much on a ship and you attack everything. I felt
Dude.
like that was pretty accurate.
Yeah, but like, if you're seeing robot zombies coming at you and a nice redheaded doctor is like, hey, just follow me, I got you. Wouldn't wouldn't you follow, or would you like leave through another hole?
Uh, so I have trust issues.
Okay.
So what she was doing, I would have totally did the exact same thing. I wouldn't have trusted nobody. I'm on a weird shit, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trusting no one. Like you said, I'm now seeing what looks like robotic murder zombies. And I mean, yes, this person looks like a human, but you be like, oh, come follow me. Nah,
Nah.
nope,
No.
nope.
So, like, I don't know. I disagree. I thought Lily was, except for one scene, nearly pointless.
What I like, so I can see what you're saying. It was
It's like an
almost
insert.
like an extra character. Yeah, like it wasn't much input, but I felt like that was almost the human aspect of like what would you do in this type of situation type thing. I mean, she started coming around pretty quickly. I still would have been freaked out, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what I got from it. It's like, okay, take normal human
Yeah.
and put you into this situation.
Yeah, it just felt like and this is just to put some perspective on this. Jean-Luc Picard and the Doctor, Beverly Crusher. The
Yep.
black chick should have just been Beverly Crusher, not freaking out or anything, but had that white whale conversation with him.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, because they're kind of an item-ish,
Yeah.
maybe, and that's been a thing through the whole story. If
Yeah.
they could have just replaced it with a character that had weight, maybe like I don't know, Data could have done it, but he was already captured.
He was captured, but it does make sense for someone who would have known John Luke to
Right.
give that type of thing, because I feel like that, like that scene held so much weight
Yeah.
for that person not to even know him, just met him like today, like
Like
so.
30 minutes ago.
Yeah, right. So I do agree with that, but as far as the character, I actually liked her character for the simple fact of how she was freaking out, bro. Like he's like, you know, pretty much don't freak out. And as soon as she sees a board, she's screaming, and she screams a lot. That was
Dude,
hilarious to me,
so much. So
so
much.
much.
So much. Now, you're mentioning her screaming at the board. Overall, like the board. What was your opinion as them as the primary villain?
I love the board being a primary villain because it's a very interesting dynamic. You're dealing with. I mean, it's really easy, like almost like in a different movie, like Terminator or something.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, you're all machine, kill all of you, but it's like you're organic and machine. So it's like you're very terrifying to us, but
Yeah.
also you have humanity. That's what makes you different. You're not a full on cyborg.
The thing you mentioned there, humanity. It's been known that people who were part of the Borg aren't completely gone and are watching their actions from the inside.
Right,
Yeah.
which is terrifying.
Yeah, and they feel every tendon when a new thing is implanted on them,
Right.
every drill. They feel and hear and see everything, but the Borg just shut them out.
And see, that brings up that scene, which was one of my favorite scenes
Mm.
of John Luke with the Tommy gun. Sorry, loved it. So Lily was asking like, "Yo, this was your boy." He's like,
Yeah,
"No, he's not there anymore." But then it's like, "Yeah, but he's in there somewhere. It's a shell of him,
Yeah.
and you're just wiping them all out.
Yeah, I think earlier when they were initially doing the sweep on the lower decks, one of them was like, "Help me!" and he just shoots him in the face.
Yep.
Yeah, what gets me about the whole Tommy gun scene and when Lily says that is that Jean-Luc should have known because he was the Queen calls him Locutus. That was his name when he was the Borg. He wasn't just some peon drone. He was the king.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the king. He was Locutus of Borg instead of Borg drone whatever. He
Right.
had a name. Other drones don't have names.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
and when they bring him back, he says, "I saw it and I remember everything." So when he's killing all these drones,
Right.
it's like
Right.
it's so wildly out of character for Jean-Luc that
Right.
that this movie was actually panned on release.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was considered by Trekkers, like we mentioned those fools at the beginning, as a bad Trek movie for a decade or more.
For that
Until
reason.
yeah, until like younger generations like myself grew up and were like, "No, man, that's just a great movie."
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was absolutely panned. There is something, and this is gonna get weird, Tim, so don't look at me strange tomorrow at work. What'd you
Alright.
think of the relationship between Data and the Queen?
Actually, you say that.
Yeah.
That was my second favorite scene.
What? No.
Yeah. Yeah, my first favorite was the Tommy gun. That was my second favorite. This is my second favorite because come on, man. You got like I said before, a semi-organic cyborg
Yeah.
fusion, and then you have what is essentially a cyborg, but with the programmed
Feeling.
to feel,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So we start bringing in humanity again, right?
Right.
So it's like, yo, these are two sides of the same spectrum.
Yeah.
But while he's programmed to feel, he doesn't actually feel. So when that whole skin and blowing on the skin thing happened, and
Yeah.
he's like freaking out, yeah, I was like, yeah, okay,
I love that because that doesn't that right there before that happened in that movie, a little bit of art history that was never talked about. Like, what if you made a machine organic, like outside of like one paragraph in an Isaac Asimov story, and then Bicentennial Man took and ran with it.
right,
Like no, like machines have always been like, I want to be human, I want to be human, but
exactly,
this was like,
exactly.
let's show it. It was never shown, and that
Yeah,
was
and
weird.
that's the thing, right? That's the thing where you get into those movies, cyborg movies. Don't get me wrong, I love the Terminator.
Yeah.
Um, things like even iRobot. It's like yeah, but you're kind of missing a whole aspect to me. And so with this simple scene, you're hitting all the buttons.
Yeah, it was so powerful. Now, some backstory on that because I like doing like these backstories but vague for you, and that's gonna happen a lot as we go. And I can't wait for you to go, oh my god, that's what was going on, like later as we get into like Enterprise and Strange New Worlds and stuff.
Okay.
So Data up until this point has never been able to feel
Right.
ever. Like even he's had suitors and he's never been able
Yeah.
to feel. This was
Right.
the first time like he could do touch. He's had
Yep.
emotions,
Exactly.
but
Emotions. Right.
he can only like after he shuts off his emotion chip only can like Data gather them, not really like understand them. This was like him finishing a big journey. Like oh my god, I know what goosebumps are, and that
Exactly. Right. But
it
at that point, right? At that point, he's already had feelings, right? Like emotional feelings. But then you add touch, right? At that
yeah,
point, isn't he just as much human
right.
as
So
right?
So let me ask you this: at this point, like, there's gonna be several times I'll ask you about Data in particular for the length of this show. Is Data a person?
Yeah, in my opinion. Yep.
Right now, he's a person. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Because there's gonna be your like halves. Like you're going to at one point think, oh, he's just a robot, and then it's gonna
Right.
bring you right back. This is like
Right.
where we're starting. You think he's a person, so that's good that you're starting here. I'm glad for
Yeah,
that.
and I also want to note that he is one of, if not my favorite character right now,
I
as
called it.
far as just seeing this movie.
I called
So
it.
we'll see.
I told you Data was gonna be your favorite.
Yep, you did.
I was like, yeah, Data is generally considered what like of all Star Trek characters, he is number one for me. Always. There's gonna be ones that get close, and a preview for next episode, Trip is gonna be your favorite character of Enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah, he's human though. He is the most human character to have ever existed in all of Star Trek. So let's move on a bit here. Magic Carpet Ride. How'd you like that? When they first launched, the tape that Zephyr Cochrane puts in the radio.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty funny.
That
Uh,
comes back so many times.
does it?
Yeah, that was like a weird inside joke. And it's like you're never gonna hear the song again, but you're gonna notice it.
Okay.
like, like that whole sequence is 1,000. Like, think about this: you're Vulcans, you're surveying, you see, or you're an explorer in general, and you see an anthill like in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the desert, out in your yard. Then all of a sudden, that anthill shoots you in the leg with a gun. That's what they were doing in that ship.
Okay.
Yeah, that humans at this point were considered less than dirt, absolutely not even to be thought of. That thought about humans is going to be applied, not just just the general idea of nothing. Apply that to every race that doesn't have warp power, and that's how, until humans come on the scene, they're considered amongst the galaxy. Until you have warp power, you don't matter.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Humans reach out and change that. So, like, that is such a feat and weirdness that's why they landed. How did they not notice the giant Enterprise E fighting a bunch of cyborgs right around the planet?
Right around that corner up there.
Yeah, like they were literally behind the door.
Yeah.
So, I wanna just Enterprise E size. So, do you know how big 685 meters is?
Nah.
Okay. Let's do a little conversion here. Meters to miles is going to be, so from top to bottom, it's about a half mile tall, and length, it's about 6 miles long.
Okay.
That is a massive ship. That
Yep.
is massive as heck. Now, it can't hide. It doesn't have a cloak. It's a giant gun that moves very fast. At that time, if any of the ships from this time period were next to it, they look like dirt. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how Vulcans missed that. I don't. That is my biggest issue with this movie. Is like,
6 miles long, bro.
Yeah, you can see it from a telescope, naked eye, if you don't have glasses. It's massive. It doesn't make any kind of sense at all. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out there because I don't get, like, the moment that thing appeared, the moment the sphere appeared, Vulcans should have been like, "Yo, what's that?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's new. Because that had, like, if it was a Starfleet vessel, no, not even at that. Starfleet didn't exist. Like, there's no reason that the Vulcans shouldn't have came earlier. But whatever. I'm sorry. I'm going on a little bit of a Trekkie rant there. I need to stop.
Sounds good.
So the final battle between Picard, Data, and the Queen. Walk me through it.
Yeah. So I felt like that battle was pretty epic, right?
Yeah.
Because while it looks like all is bad for Jean-Luc and Data, right?
Yeah.
Like the Queen is just handling them left and right. Uh, they kind of allude back to the beginning.
How so?
When they were talking about what was that gas was it the gas?
Oh yeah, the plasma gas.
Yeah, they had a conversation in the beginning, like, yo, if you do this, like, it burns
Everything.
all like the organic part,
Yeah.
right? And so there was like, you can't do that because it would just wipe like people out too, and John Luke being
A person.
a person,
Yeah, can't do it.
it would kill you too. So I felt like I didn't see it coming, even though I was mad at myself for not seeing it coming because they totally talked about it in the beginning.
They
Talked
did.
about it. They had a full on conversation. So for it to end the way it did, I was like, oh right,
With the
because
whole
I was so
spine snap.
confused. Exactly. And then, hanging on like a thread, and I'm like, no, they better not kill Data. And then I'm like, wait a minute, Cyborg, he's good.
Yeah, he's fine. He had a
Yeah.
piece of his face and an arm.
Right, right.
No, but I
Yeah,
thought that was so cool how the queen just melts, and it's just
Yeah.
like her bones that then is snapped in half.
yeah,
And
no, that was epic.
yeah, and that was basically First Contact. As I also chose First Contact as your first viewing because of the title, to be honest. As
Okay.
episode 1,
Makes
First
sense.
Contact.
Makes sense. First contact. Yeah.
But overall, what this movie does is what makes First Contact, in my opinion, one of the better Star Trek movies is it had the deep discussions like, Captain Ahab hunting his white whale. Every good episode of Star Trek has something like that. Action, which, when Star Trek has action, it's amazing. It won't always have it.
Yeah.
And when it was funny with Zephyr Cochrane, it's really funny.
Yeah.
This was one of the best Star Treks to introduce somebody to. Are you wanting to watch more?
Yes, I do. But yeah, like you said, it hit on all of those things that I do like. I will say, as for that movie, and maybe the rest of the series and stuff is going to be like this, but how they develop the characters and their relationships
Yeah.
that fast for me was I thought it was a good job.
I like that you say that because this is like up until I would say like 3 or 4 years back, there was only one more movie after this before the end of the Star Trek timeline. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And they developed characters for you. I'm quite shocked because this is like them in their stride. Like they already know everything. There was even side characters that had like episodes dedicated to them. Let me like, when Geordi mentions the statue,
Yeah.
the guy right before him, that white guy who's really nervous with all the junk in his hands.
Right.
His name's Lieutenant Barclay. There's 7 episodes across the entire series, 8 if you count a cameo in another, that are dedicated to him.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so him being there is like, I can't wait for you to see where he came from because that man was put together in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That character is used to show how to accept people with mental and physical disabilities into the workforce.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has special needs, like that the character does, and
Right.
and in Star Trek, nearly everything is cured except for mental illnesses.
Mm.
Like there's very few, and he has like a big one: anxiety and depression, and like that was dealt with in the 80s on Star Trek.
Yeah.
So like, anyway, sorry, I'm going off subject here, but overall, I'm excited for this. And what are you looking forward into Star Trek? What do you want to see?
Honestly, I like getting into the lore of it, right? I like to know like the background story, how it all came to be.
Yeah.
I've watched other things, and other sci-fi, of course, but I never really delved into Star Trek. I just kind of fell behind, right, and
Yeah.
felt like I was overwhelmed, so I didn't. Uh, so for me, I would say like there's plenty of references that I don't get.
Oh yeah.
Being brought up. So pretty much just
Well,
how it all came to be.
I'm taking notes of what we've talked about and what I'm kind of avoiding talking about because there's certain things I want you to come back and be like, "Oh my god, that happened in First Contact." First
Right.
Contact.
Right.
because a little bit of a hint in season 4 of Enterprise, which will come up very fast, there's an episode that is a direct result of First Contact.
Okay.
Yeah, so look forward to that. Anyway, guys, this has been oWo Trek.